It's Monday, October 29th of 2018, and almost the entire month is gone. Gone, I say, without a guy's daily drive. How awful is that? And welcome to Guy's Daily Drive. It has been a very, very long time, and so much has gone on. I went to Ohio in a Browns football game against the Ravens, which the Browns won, much to pretty much everyone's surprise, including Browns fans. I got really, really sick, and I spent about week and a half, 2 weeks, trying to recover. My voice was pretty much shot. I was coughing a lot. I actually begged off a couple of podcasts just because I could barely speak, and it just wouldn't have been fun. But I am on the mend. I'm still a little bit phlegmy, I guess you could say, but I feel fine. The last 2 weeks also. 2 Sundays ago, I went to my brother's house in Delaware, and the whole reason for me to go was to help him set up his wife's computer. He has I think it's the latest generation 21.5-inch iMac that he wanted to give to his wife. She was still on I think it's a 2008 20-inch iMac, and lots of bad sectors on the hard drive. It was definitely starting to give up the ghost. And of course, the first thing you want to do with something like that is back up the data that's on the drive. And they had been doing pretty much regular backups with Carbon Copy Cloner. But it took 5 hours to back up 15 gigs of data. And I think it was mostly because of all the bad sectors on the internal hard drive in the iMac. And I also think that there was some issues with the external drive that they're currently using. And when I left my bag there that had my iPad Pro. It had this iPod Touch that I use to record Guy's Daily Drive, all my microphones, my entire mobile setup. So even if I had wanted to and hadn't been sick, I wouldn't have been able to do any Guy's Daily Drives. So when I went yesterday, we got the computer set up, got it on his network, set up his my sister-in-law's email address, and tried to copy some of the data over, but there was a couple of issues. So wasn't able to do it, and he's kind of carrying on in my stead. And obviously he has a lot more time at his own house than I do at his house, so I wasn't able to stay to get all that started. But eventually it's going to be okay. Now, one of the things that my sister-in-law was doing that is really, really not a good idea. Number one, to hold on to a computer for 10 years. I mean, they certainly got their money's worth out of it, but eventually you hit that brick wall of not being able to update, not being able to get even security updates. So that was just not a good thing to have happen. The other thing that she was doing was every single time she would do a save on a document, she would also just rename it and then save that copy. So she potentially has hundreds of documents that are basically the same with just minor changes. And it's going to be their job to go through all of those documents and just keep the ones that are still kind of relevant to what it is she wants to do with the computer. And of course, all of their pictures and everything else were also on this computer. So they need to make some decisions and go through all that stuff. And I'll certainly go back out and help them again. Number one, they feed me really, really well. My sister-in-law is like an excellent cook. Oh my God, she is such a great cook. When I was out there 2 weeks ago, Tracy was with me, as was Guy Jr., and they fed us these huge, huge steaks that were just, fork tender, just so good. And when I was out there yesterday, they made these, they had marinated these kind of pork boneless cutlets. Can't think of a better term for it. And they grilled them, and again, just super tender. You cut it with the knife, and the knife just goes right through it like butter. Roasted white potatoes with butter and parsley, broccoli, tomato slices and cucumber slices, cold, done in some kind of seasoning. And everything was just, oh my God, it was so good. We went to a couple weird things that did happen, though. He couldn't remember the password to Marissa's, his wife, email account. So he had to go through the whole thing where you contact your ISP and you get them to reset the password, and you create a new password, which takes time. The other thing is the copy of Microsoft Office that they had on that old computer can't run on the new computer. So he had to go and get a new copy of Microsoft Office. And before we could install it, we had to make sure that there was a working email address, because that's where they were going to send the extraneous information that we needed to set up the new version of Microsoft Office that we bought at a local retailer store. And it's not like the old days where you buy software and it comes in a box and there's a disk or a CD-ROM or DVD or something along those lines, and you install the program and then put in some kind of security code, which then goes back to the manufacturer's site and verifies that it's a good code. Nope. Now, sorry, you download the software, and then you put in the code that's on this, basically just a piece of paper that you buy at the store, and that's how. And then you have to set up an account with Microsoft. And as it turns out, they had an account, but they couldn't remember the password for that, so we had to reset that password as well. So it was just like one thing after another, which isn't a big surprise when you have a computer that's old. So the computer is working. It's updated to Mojave. Has a working email account for his wife. 2-factor authentication through her phone. Microsoft Office. So basically the computer is all set up for her use, and all she has to do is copy the data from her old computer to the new computer so that she can work on whatever files that she wants. I'm anticipating many, many, many phone calls. Maybe not. The one good thing about our family is, number one, I'm not the smartest person when it comes to computing in our family, and that's a really good thing. My brother Larry is. So on a lot of these questions, if I'm not sure, I basically tell whoever it is I'm talking to to contact Larry, because if Larry doesn't know, then the answer can't be had. Larry is one smart cookie. So that's what was going on with that. I'm glad that I've got all my stuff back together, and I plan on doing more Guys Daily Drives. I know that October has been not a great month for Guys Daily Drives, though I have still been putting the Mac to the Future livecast audio into this feed. So there was still stuff coming through on the feed in October, just not Guys Daily Drives. So I think that's going to about do it for now. Tomorrow is bowling. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention this. My absolute highest score in bowling ever was a 199. Since I started bowling again, it's been years and years. Prior to last Tuesday, my high score since I started bowling again was 144. Well, last Tuesday, very first game, I got a 162, and I was like, holy crap, I got a 162. And then I got a 100 in the second game, which was more true to form. But then we start doing the third game, and it was pretty unspectacular at first, but then right at the end, things just got nuts. And I got a 165 or a 166, something like that. So in one night, I set 2 high scores, which, I never had the high score of everyone that was bowling. There was always somebody that had a higher score than I did. But that wasn't really the point, because, this league that we're bowling in, they set up the handicaps and all the rest of that based on previous games, and I've got this super ridiculous handicap of 81, which is crazy high. So, but when we play, I don't really count the handicap. It's like, you know what, the score I get is the score I get. I don't really care about adding the handicap to it, because it's all just for fun. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow night, and hopefully maybe I'll even be able to beat my high score again. That would be fantastic. But if I don't, that's all right too. So if you'd like to get a hold of me, so easy to do. Guy@mymac.com, probably. You can also reach me on the Twitters. My Twitter handle is MacParrot. If you would like to contribute to the crazy things that I do and help me offset some of my costs, number one, thank you if you do. I really do appreciate that. Easiest way to do it is probably through Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. If you'd like to just do like a one-time donation, that's also greatly appreciated. You can do that over at ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/MacParrot. Basically, MacParrot for everything. You can also catch me on Wednesday nights on the Mac to the Future livecast that I do typically with Warren Sklar. I'm trying to get Dave Ginsburg on as well. And, of course, the thing that started it all, the mighty MyMac.com podcast that I do nearly every single weekend with Mr. Gary the Gazmaz. So that's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for downloading and listening to Guys Daily Drive. And I'll catch you next time. Maybe I'll record some tomorrow.